But I am pausing here because we do have our next special guest in the audience. It is Justin Hall of links.net fame, and I am going to go ahead and pull up his movie right now on the archive, and we will have a little interview first. Okay, because I need to. Okay. Hey Justin, do you know the identifier of your movie by heart? Okay, can we turn up 4?
It's like a true URL, my identifier, what I've been waiting for all these years. The permalink that would be perpetual, the perpetual permalink.
Let's use our search function.
All right.
Let's use our search function. Let's try overshare.
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 The links.net story, it's the first hit.
All right.
Yes.
That's good.
All is right with the world.
But it's fully Creative Commons, so somebody could make, more first hits.
Excellent. Cool. So I'm going to come up on stage with you.
All right. Lucky me. You, me, and Sky Mall with the Encyclopedia of Christmas.
That's right. Because that's what it's like
and
around
a squirrel who
the
seems to be regurgitating his stuffing.
6 in the morning. Oh, that's Santa squirrel. So today is tomorrow for you, but yesterday for us.
I come from the future.
Hello.
Good morning.
What news do you have to tell us of the future, Justin?
It's dark out there in the future.
Oh, is it still?
It's quite dark in the future.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you bring your own light. It's BYOL.
Wow.
Yeah.
What'd you have for breakfast?
3 eggs scrambled with too much milk and a slice of toast.
Ooh, that sounds kind of liquidy.
Yeah. Are you having any liquid breakfast?
That's my liquid sustenance for the entire evening. So raw fuel.
All right.
And I had quite a number of these taffies, and then we saw a movie at the beginning of my whole thing here that had a horrible cavity man that was attacking teeth with a big set of pincers.
Wait, so you just started like 20 minutes ago, right?
Oh, no, I've been doing this since midnight. But
all right.
Yeah.
What time is it right now?
It is
6:06. It's happy time.
It's happy time.
And why have you been on the air for 6 hours and 6 minutes now, Michelle? What is this all about?
Well, it's because Jason Scott needs to sleep, and this is a 24-hour telethon.
But
the poor guy.
All right.
And we need your donations.
All right. So
and they've been so fantastic. And
have they? All right.
They really have. And I wanted to give out a shout out to Ashley Bluer. Hello, Ashley. It's good to hear from you again.
Great. All right,
everything
Ashley.
in the Carolinas is awesome. Wait, no, you're in New York, right? Hi, Ashley. Okay.
Yeah. So have people been donating money to keep the Internet Archive going online?
They have. What is our donation total at the moment?
Did you hear that number?
$70,508.
And so by the time I'm done here in an hour or 53 minutes, it'd be great if that could be 100,000, right?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
All right. Let's see what we could do.
All right. So did you want to give us a little preview talk about your movie? Do you want to just dive in and do a Q&A afterwards?
You were just going to hit play on my movie?
Oh, I
Justin
mean,
Hall will be joining us every
it's totally up to
Tuesday.
you.
Oh my God, no! I'm live. I mean, I'm live here. We
Okay,
could, we could be televised or we could be real. Are we delayed in case somebody accidentally swears?
We are, but you can swear.
Oh my God! Somebody's asleep in the pews.
That's Jason Scott.
That's Jason
Yeah.
Scott. Okay, nobody don't. Okay, don't give too much money, folks. You might wake him up. Actually, go ahead. It'd be good news to wake him up too.
We'd all be up here then. Yeah, so
exactly.
we can totally be live.
All right, let's be live.
Yeah, let's just be live then.
Let's just be live
Awesome.
until we get tired of each other and the whole thing.
You're like, that's enough, and then we can watch more Toys from Space.
Toys from Space. I'm watching all these clay figures stare at me and say, what's my obligation to the future of the internet? I think the obligation in the future of the internet is to copy it, right? Because if you don't make copies of what's on the internet, it goes away.
That's right. Preservation through distribution.
That's right. That's what the Bible teaches us.
Does it?
Yeah, because the Bible wouldn't exist unless people copied it and distributed it.
This is true. Yeah, all the illuminated manuscripts over the years, and then the
the youth of Europe was poured into those pages. Yeah, the printing press.
The Gettysburg Press.
The Gettysburg Address.
I've been up for quite a while, folks.
I just woke up
The
like 45 minutes
Gutenberg
ago.
Press.
So we could tag team awareness here.
This is going to be fascinating. We're like at opposite ends of the wavelength
spectrum.
spectrum.
Yeah, the wakitude spectrum.
Yeah.
So do you have any sense right now how many people are here with us on the air?
Yes, we do. How many viewers do we have right now?
4? 54. That's just 10x what I thought you said. Wow. Well, to the 54 people who are with us right now, I'm very grateful. We're very grateful that you are tuned in, because each one of you represents a community that's not only an individual that can give, but an entire family or community group that can give. And if you're a kid in school, or if you're an adult with a job, you can rally the people in your firm, you can rally the people in your school, and you can run your own little drive, you can run your own little telethon on behalf of the Internet Archive, because if you're awake with us right now, you are probably committed to the preservation of human knowledge. Because if there's anything this telethon is about, it's about deepening human knowledge. And if you are with us, please take this moment to amplify what we're doing and raise even more money in your community for the Internet Archive.
If you had 10 artifacts that you would want to copy for preservation and distribute to make sure that they lived in perpetuity, what would those 10 objects be? You have to answer immediately. You don't have any time to think about it.
Well, so one would be this building.
Okay.
With all the stuff in it.
Cool.
I don't know if that's more than one object.
I think that counts. It was a very loose definition, so
okay,
good answer.
Thanks. Yeah.
What else is
There's
there?
a lot of that gets me pretty far into preservation of humanity with this building. I think the Rosetta Stone, I can't read it, but I think other people could in the future. So the actual tablet thing with like 3 different, it's got like cuneiform, Aramaic, and I think like Esperanto written on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would preserve. I once went to this shop in a fancy neighborhood in Tokyo where people buy Go boards. So Go is a kind of, looks like it might be checkers because it's got black and white tiles, but it's more strategic than checkers because you're claiming land.
Uh-huh.
And they sold this crazy Go board made out of a tree stump that had been like lovingly sort of lacquered and varnished.
Wow.
And it cost like $25,000. I was never going to buy that thing, but I thought maybe now that you just asked me off the top of my head what I'd preserve one of those tree stump Go boards. My father bought me a pocket knife when I was 8, and I lost it, so I'd preserve that. I think that's probably enough things to preserve. I got a pocket knife and the Rosetta Stone and a tree stump and the Internet Archive. I think I'm ahead. What about you? Do you have that? Is that something you've thought through, Michelle, what you would preserve, the 10 things?
The 10 things that I would preserve. I would probably have to think about different species of other life forms.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, get beyond yourself. Well, you yourself contain multitudes, as you may have heard about your microbiome and the bacteria in your eyelashes.
It's really fascinating how it all works together to be what is conceived of as like an individual, but it's so many complex cells that are all working together. Yeah.
My gosh, it reminds me a little bit of the internet, that you think you sort of are visiting one site, but it's pulled together of many little pieces. And when you watch some movie, you think, oh, it's just they sat down and they made that movie. But so many movies are made of little contiguous pieces that they may have drawn from elsewhere. Like, for example, if you were making a movie and you needed lots of little media pieces, you could tap into the Pralinger archive.
You certainly could, and we've been mentioning that a few times this evening.
You mean you've heard of it before?
Oh, I have. This is actually what brought me here to the Internet Archive.
Tell us more.
So my husband, Chris, who is still
shout out to Chris in Pew 6.
We were
Out buying donuts. Even
all
better than being in the
right,
pews
yeah.
is out buying donuts.
we were visual art students at New College of Florida, so
All
he
right.
used the Prelinger Archives materials a lot as source footage for both remix videos and also to create visual effects off of the original stuff to kind of like abstract it and to create all these beautiful patterns and colors and crazy things.
You know, and I think what's so important to note there is that, like, these Prelinger films, the films that are in this archive, the people who made them, I think, did not intend them to be time capsules of another American reality.
No, they didn't.
They didn't know that the sort of GM house of the General Motors house of the future was going to be something that all of us would sort of cackle over and remix into all sorts of subversive and perversive media.
Or like a 10-minute Cadillac car commercial and stuff like that.
Yeah, those things were meant to be ephemera. They were meant to be lost to the ages. But due to incorrigible archivists, they are now the substrate of so many media experiments.
And so there's, I think, not necessarily in those cases there being an ethical issue, because just because people didn't think that their stuff would be archived or wasn't worthy of being archived doesn't mean that they didn't have a problem with it being archived. Versus, I read an article sometime last year about, I believe it was a disc with a Robert Frost recording on it that archivists were able to restore because now they have lasers that can read the grooves. So the person that had recorded this disc, Robert Frost asked it to be destroyed, so it had a bunch of scratches through it because he didn't like it. But then they restored it and posted it, and I thought that was problematic. I mean, I guess Robert Frost should have done a better job, or whoever recorded it. I think it might have been Carl Sandburg. But anyway, don't quote me on the names, but the point there being, just because we have the ability to recover something that was otherwise unable to be recovered doesn't mean we necessarily should.
Okay, but Robert Frost is dead.
Yeah, but if he didn't want anybody to hear that recording, then shouldn't we honor that? He made an attempt under his technology of the time to destroy.
Yeah, but he wrote really great poems, and so his life is no longer his own.
You think
I mean,
so?
I don't know but that's the counterpoint to your suggestion. I mean, is that like
the ethics of archiving and
the ethics of archiving. If you are a truly notable human contributor, it may be that the things you want to suppress become too interesting.
Or maybe you should do like a better job in destroying them.
It's true. Or do a crappier job of contributing to humanity.
Right? So there.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. Like if you're Robert Frost and you're like, yo, hey, include me out. I don't want to be in the archive. But it's like, no, sir, we recovered this disc with our laser phonograph technology. The future wants you. You have been summoned. You can't deny the summons. You've been drafted into cultural reproduction.
Isn't that how like monsters come back from beyond the grave though?
Oh my God.
You're like, why did you bring me back then?
Yeah, and then they reanimate them, and so it makes you wonder, like, Hugo Chavez may not be dead for forever, for long. I'm going to get a mic stand here.
Oh, cool. Yes, please do.
Okay, thanks.
There's one to the right?
Oh, you got one? Thank you. What's your name?
This is
Trevor. Thank you, Trevor. Thanks to Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor.
How long did you just get here too, Trevor? Like 20 minutes ago?
Oh, no.
That's good. Hey, spirits are running high here.
Something like that. Things are a little insane.
Yeah.
At this time, Trevor did this amazing presentation. It was like an hour and a half between like 3 and 4:30 of all of the insane, or not all of the insane, but a selection of the insane political ads that are running on television. Part of the San Francisco campaigns, reactions to the Prop F.
Oh, these are contemporary political ads.
Oh, yes, contemporary political ads. Yeah, the one for the Rand Paul filibuster that was in the style of a monster truck rally with the Sunday.
Who made these
videos? Super PACs.
Super PACs and like Not super PACs.
And also not super PACs, yeah. And people with low levels of crowdfunding. He showed
Low levels of crowdfunding,
or I guess just friends and a camera too. He showed a parody video made by Broadcast Stewart's campaign. So there was no funding for that campaign, right, Trevor?
I think there was a couple bucks, but no funding.
Broadcast Stewart, no real funding.
No real funding.
Maybe somebody threw a couple bucks around, But yeah.
Just love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're at 50-some viewers, maybe more now, maybe we tripled, but I wonder what at the lowest point, how few viewers there were.
That was probably like right in the beginning, I would imagine.
Oh yeah,
I think we probably gained momentum as time went on.
But then there must have been a fall off at 3 a.m. California time, or have people in Istanbul picked up the slack?
I'm not totally sure where or if we can see where people are tuning in from, but we
have to just imagine.
Even in the late hours, we had at least 40 people fairly consistently.
That's great, because
really
I think
nice.
Jason Scott, it looks like he's asleep over there, but actually he's watching the telethon on his mobile device from the bed that he's sleeping on.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he's one of the 50-some.
Oh, good, yeah. And I feel like that's another thing. I'm like, okay, I think I have it up on my computer, and I think we have it up on our
Yeah, let's reload a few.
It's coming from inside the building.
All the people watching are inside the building. It's Brewster and his 50
God,
computers.
It's all of these little
It's all the
people.
clay figurines that surround us.
Hey, it's us.
So for you viewers at home, we are in the grand atrium of a building that was built long ago to house the truth. It was a church. It's now an archive. I guess it's always been an archive. But in order to fill this vast worship zone, they've crafted these figures of clay, and these are eager archivists who've been a part of the journey here to preserve human truth. And they are all watching us, and they are all waiting for us to bring them forward into tomorrow. So that's why we're sitting here talking.
They look very friendly too.
They do. The future, some of the people in the future are friendly, and we encourage you to be among those friendly future people by supporting the Internet Archive. And what's amazing, what's truly astounding to understand, is that if you give once to the Internet Archive, you've proven that you can give once to the Internet Archive. You've also proven that you can give again to the Internet Archive, because if it works once, it will probably work again.
Yes, that is what we are hoping.
Yeah, so think
what
of
all
the
of
first
these people
time you
hope
gave
to
to the
make
Internet
sure
Archive
happens.
as a successful experiment, and that you can now reproduce.
Think of how fun it was.
Think of how fun it was, and that surge of gratitude. It's actually a compounding surge of rush of charity, of like that surge of goodwill you'll feel inside you as all those citizens of the future consume media that you basically opened your wallet to fund. As good as it feels the first time, I'll bet it feels twice as good the second time, and 3 times as good the third time you might give to the Internet Archive tonight.
That's an interesting theory, isn't it, folks? Why don't you try it and tweet in and let us know?
Yeah, exactly. You could chat us up and let us know whether the third time giving to the Internet Archive feels 3x good.
Yeah. I think your brain is going to explode with
Yeah,
pleasure.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So do we have in this era of quantified data selves and everything, do we know whether there's a particular clip that's been played during your shift, or a particular line of discussion that led to a sudden surge of donations? Was it the yo-yoing in space, or any? Toys in Space was a hit.
Okay.
Right on. Maybe it just should have been 24 hours of Toys in Space.
We also played some really cool educational film strips from the 70s. One was about building cities in space, and it was it was amazing. I learned so much from it, and we decided we want to go live in space right now. And then we just finished up fairly recently the Poetry of Rock, 2 slide carousel sets where you learn about different poetry techniques in by using contemporary rock and roll lyrics like Rocky Raccoon and Suzanne by Leonard Cohen.
So is it so then maybe it's true what I heard. I heard this is not actually a telethon. This is an occupation. You guys have occupied the Internet Archive until you go through all the material to learn everything you can.
That's right. We have to go through and give everybody like a little sampling. We can't cover everything. There's just like too much for people to watch in their entire lives.
Yeah, but
you have to show like a little taste of this, a little taste of that, because we have so many different people coming from so many different places. Like there are lots of people that haven't heard of archive.org, but they know about the Wayback Machine. And so there's lots of people that know about us from that. We talked about the Prelinger archives. There's Net Labels, LibriVox, Open Library.
Wait, all this is within the Internet Archive?
It is.
This is like the microbiome that forms the Internet Archive body?
Yeah.
This is amazing. So all those things you mentioned, you've been able to show a little taste of almost everything. Oh my God, our numbers are going up. We are up to 60 live now. Right on. Thank you, Trevor.
Woo. Excellent. Keep inviting your friends and family to tune in to the Internet Archive Telethon, because we're here and everything is fantastic.
Well, and what I was feeling is that it's a little bit like we're in a perpetual university setting.
Oh, yes.
That it's
definitely.
like a house of constant learning.
Yeah.
And you've just made it explicit by not sleeping.
Yes, yes. And we have to make sure that we have, we encourage as many people to donate not only monetarily, but also to contribute to our collections on the archive here, because the more perspectives and diversity that is represented in these servers that are serving these files and distributing these files, the better sense we have of what important information makes up our society and our communities. And this is a global effort too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm thinking about this as like a house of perpetual learning, that, you know, whether people are awake all night in the pews or not, the server lights are kept on in this building by the likes of the people around the world who love knowledge and love sharing knowledge together. And the only reason you would be tuned into this broadcast is because you are a brilliant nerd who figured out where all of humanity is headed. Because if you are part of humanity and what you make is not going to be in the Internet Archive, what digital future do you expect to be a part of?
Knowledge never sleeps.
Knowledge never sleeps unless somebody turns the lights off.
That's right. So we got to keep the lights on, right?
We got to keep the lights on.
And we got to keep space in the servers for more information to be added.
It's true.
Because it's being made all the time, and it's being transferred all the time too. There's so much information that has been made that's still waiting to be transferred and digitized and uploaded here as well.
And so it's really crazy to imagine that if the Internet Archive ran out of money tomorrow and the lights went off, basically our sense of the web before today would vanish.
That's right. And the world would be sad.
Well, the world would be sad. I mean, the world would probably get over it. They would invent some new things to be sad about. There'd be sadder things to be concerned about. But it's fascinating to think that so much of what we produce is ephemeral. And some of that's important. It's important sometimes to lose track of things. Not everything should be remembered.
Just think of all the things that we don't know that haven't been remembered because they were not created in the times that we have the current storage, like pre our
when people wrote on tree bark.
Tree bark, and societies that have long since crumbled into the sea. How much of
and maybe they figured out how polyamory actually works.
Yeah,
but they wrote it on bark, and so nobody will ever know. You know.
I guess it's the struggle that people have to keep on rediscovering for themselves. Like just because an idea has been come up with before doesn't mean that it's not perfectly valid to rethink it.
Yeah, and like there were people on the other side of the world who figured out how to manage gentrification and mingling of different people and all these things. But 3,000 years ago they just didn't have the perpetual archive.
Yeah, and the Mayans built these grand cities, and then they abandoned them, and we don't know why. They went back into the forest.
So when we reach perfect enlightenment, we can abandon the archive. But today is not the day when we can abandon the archive, because we have not reached perfect enlightenment.
No, it's going to take a holistic group effort. Everybody is a little piece of the enlightenment, and we need to all work on this together.
Absolutely. We cannot let down this stash of knowledge unless we think we figured it all out. There's no way we have. And there's kids online there's kids coming online who haven't been online, and she and he are going to come and, they're going to want to sift through the old truth to make the new truth. And the gems within the archive, there's some non-gems in the archive, but there's a lot of gems, and it's all in there. You just got to sift through it. And one thing that astounds me about the internet, it's not curated.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It is an open archive. Yeah, so that's a lot of power. I mean, there's might be even something you might even say subversive about it, because it's like you believe that everything is worth keeping, or that humanity itself is important without judgment, without hesitation. Our own knowledge is worth, other people deciding for themselves what they like.
And maybe it's also there to keep us sharp, the fact that it's unfiltered. As a librarian, and people ask me in the age of Google and search engines and the internet, are librarians still relevant? I'm like, well, yes. Do you know how to determine what the veracity of the information that you're encountering online is?
How do you determine the veracity of information you find online, Michelle?
You have to think critically about it. You have to hunt down the sources. You have to check it against other sources of information as well. You have to feel what your gut feels as well. Your gut's not always right, but it can tell you some very important things.
Check your microbiome.
Check your microbiome.
So if you
talk to your librarian.
You just mentioned checking other sources as a critical part of critical thinking. What if there's no old sources or historical materials available for you to check? Then the truth is always now.
The truth is always now.
Maybe it's better if the archive just goes away. Then we don't have to know history, so we can repeat it. We get to repeat history instead of having to come up with new stuff.
But aren't we doing that already? It's not that we're necessarily repeating history. Well, let me step back a few. We can try to inform ourselves in the course of our actions through what has happened before, but ultimately what is happening now is a completely unique and new experience, and we're learning all the time, so we can't just go by other instances of like experiences
and
to
history,
know what's going to happen, because nobody knows what's going to happen.
And to be honest, Michelle, history's kind of a downer, actually, now that I think about it. There's
lots of crappy people that are manipulating and squashing and stepping on.
And it was black and white.
When I first saw Happy Days during a summer that I spent in Lake George, New York, I saw it on a black and white television, and then when I got home, it blew my mind that it was in color, and I thought it'd been colorized, but it just turned out I was watching it on a black and white TV.
And so, in a way, like most people surf the internet today in black and white, and it's once they get to the Internet Archive that they get to see the internet in color. Yeah, this is true. Totally true. Except
in a hologram. Totally true, except sometimes the opposite.
So the funny thing is, right now around the world, there are billions of dollars being spent trying to get people trying to figure out how to get people to spend their time and their attention, on frivolous,
you can
nonsense.
Say bullshit.
Okay, you said it for me. And this is in fact like a largely volunteer-driven passion project for people who actually don't care whether other people look at it. They want to make it available, but it's not like, it's not being marketed at people. The Internet Archive is not marketed at people as something better than, the cereal you're eating for breakfast now. It's not that kind of thing.
Yes, we are. Another thing that's so important about us is that we are a virtual online space that is free from advertisement and free from marketing. And what a relief it is to be able to come here and not have all those flashy banner ads or the hyperlinks trying to send you off to places that will give money to the places. And that's another reason why we encourage people to upload content to the archive rather than just on YouTube or other sites like that, that are private commercial sites that may change their terms of service at some point and
Or go out of business.
Or go out of business, exactly. So then what happens to your stuff?
Or be sold for scrap, yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe you're going to like upload your pictures to Flickr and then they'll start selling them for their own profit.
Yeah,
Somebody gets
or
them
I
to
mean,
shop.
I've uploaded a lot of photos to Flickr, and I think they built a great service. But Yahoo is not doing so good financially right now. And if Yahoo goes away, what happens to Flickr? Will the next owner of Flickr want to keep all the old photos online? And will the owner of the Flickr servers after that want to keep the servers online? And in 40 years, who pays to keep the Flickr servers online? And if those go away, that's a lot of human photos that will be lost. Fortunately, there's a lot of people taking photos now to replace those photos. But if you think there's some importance to continuity in the shared human memory, then the Internet Archive might be a service that you should open your wallet for.
And then that's an excellent point. And that also gets us back to the preservation through replication. I think I've used a different preservation through word every time, but replication also works. So having your information stored in multiple places is very important. Uploaded to different sites. We offer you mirrored storage forever for free here at the archive.
Forever, as long as humanity cares to keep the archive around,
That's
right?
right,
I mean,
yeah.
it's forever right now. Forever looks like a kind of a very excited guy with white hair and like, but he's like the first generation internet archivist, right? And
Yeah.
and we are all Brewster's children, and then who are Brewster's children's children, and like what's the long view, right? Is that there's going to be, fast forward 50 years, they're going to be doing another telethon for the Internet Archive. Everybody will be up here on their hover chairs.
Yeah, with their holographic clothes, and we'll just be playing the movies on the things that we're wearing.
Oh, I
And,
see. You're wearing scenes of San Francisco, past scenes of San Francisco projected on your clothes, and
Yeah.
I'm wearing I'm wearing a television talk show from Philadelphia in the 1970s on my clothes, and
That's right. It's definitely the world of Philip K. Dick.
yeah.
We're
So
just,
so
like,
this is just
steps
setting
along
the
the way.
stage for an Internet Archive clothing line about projecting your favorite part of human history as you walk down the street. What do you want to draw from the archive to show on your body? That kind of thing will only be possible if you today can fund the future development of Internet Archive uses we don't even yet anticipate.
It's true. The future, nobody knows.
Nobody
knows the future.
Nobody knows. So I want to ask a question. Is there today a virtual world? Like if somebody's watching this and they're like, yes, but I have a VR headset here and I want to put my VR headset and be in a 3D world with other people who are also part of the Internet Archive. Is there like a VR ML hangout for people, or like a Second Life world or anything?
That sounds like a Jason Scott kind of
Okay, so
question.
he's asleep. So you guys should donate so that the R&D team here at the Internet Archive can work on building the actual Internet Archive 3D world that you get to go into and sort of pilot, so that you can, instead of being able to use a search engine and like lists and tabulated sort of lists of things, you would actually have the chance to enter the physical structure of the Internet Archive and wander the stacks until you found what you wanted. It would be less efficient, I think, than a search engine, but I think in terms of serendipity, we could see a year from now like a huge serendipity engine around the Internet Archive if we can get enough donations to drive like the 3D instantiation of the archive.
Yeah, and people definitely need to bring serendipity back into their lives.
Yes. Yeah, because I mean, right now what we've done is a number of us have purchased these smartphone devices.
Yes.
And they're portable networked computers, but inside they don't have the petabytes that the Internet Archive has.
Mm-hmm.
But what they do have is they have a connection to networks run by companies who are constantly feeding you little bits of information in order to attract your attention.
That's right.
And right now, if you love the Internet Archive, if you are like the Internet Archive's #1 fan, and you have stayed up with us all the way along, and you have opened your wallet once an hour to give to encourage these folks and the hard work they're doing to perpetuate human history, even if you are that person, you are not getting push notifications on your phone from the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive is not putting themselves in front of you to get you to spend money on Black Friday. The Internet Archive is not doing the commercial outreach that our capitalist brothers and sisters are doing, to get their industries to self-perpetuate. No, the Internet Archive is a bunch of volunteers who haven't even gotten a donut yet, sort of like just trying to keep the truth alive for people they haven't even met.
Yes.
So
I'm thinking about information silos too. And
yeah, talk about it.
Yeah. So just the very fact that we think we have a full picture, perhaps because we have the whole internet at our fingertips, but how much information is being shaped and fed to us that prevents us from knowing things that are outside of our demographic or our comfort range and this and that. So if you're able to be in a place that doesn't set up those barriers or send you along those certain pathways, it gives you the opportunity to explore and encounter things that you may not encounter otherwise in those more manufactured landscapes that are part of the corporate capitalist internet and what that has become.
Boy, it's so interesting. It's true, because the Internet Archive presents itself to you with no judgment. It's like you can come and look at the stuff you want to see, you didn't even know you want to see, but the Internet Archive does not have a stake in making sure that you don't see something or that you do see something. Now, there's highlights. You may want to say, oh, by the way, did you know we have added an archive of antique video games that are playable in your web browser? We just wanted to let you know that this exists. But it's not like, boy, we make 10x the good feelings of archivist, love if you play our video games instead of watching our ephemeral films. That's just up to you what brings you pleasure in the Internet Archive.
That's right. It's your choice. You have the power. You have the freedom.
You have the power and you have the freedom and you have the responsibility to support the archive, because if you get a good experience from this telethon, or you get a good experience from looking at old web pages, or you get a good experience from drawing those films for your creative productions, or you just want to be sure that school kids of tomorrow will have access to free material to remix for their own cultural productions, you should pitch in here. And I think that's, when I think about the kids, man, because if you got a school assignment to make some fun little media project, you're not supposed to go on YouTube and just start taking down what you like and remixing it. That's not the way YouTube is designed, and that's not the way copyright is designed. But much of the material on the Internet Archive is clearly labeled, so if you're allowed to use it, and you can search for stuff you can use, and then you can reuse culture to make your own culture. Michelle, I know I'm talking a lot, but what I want to say something to you.
Go on.
We have a fabulous role model in our society for the reuse of culture to make new media that has really affected people in deep ways. And it's a company called Disney. Disney is a fabulous reworker of fairy tales and myths, and they take these public domain cultural productions to remake new stories. And it is only because things like Snow White and Cinderella and these traditional long-told human tales are in the public domain. It's only because people kept those grim fairy tales around that Disney is then able to say, we want to tell you a story about a boy with a long wooden nose. And we're going to get a new generation of artists to use new technologies to tell that story. But tomorrow's public domain, what is tomorrow's public domain? I think tomorrow's public domain is today's Internet Archive. Mm-hmm. And that's why the support of folks like you is creating the Disneys of tomorrow. And the nice thing is if you help create the Disneys of tomorrow by supporting the Internet Archive, you don't have to worry about being a stockholder in the Disneys of tomorrow. No obligation to any of that. You get the altruism of funding the future storytellers and the new technologists and the experimenters of tomorrow without worrying about trying to make lots of money and stuff off of it.
And that's another good reason for Creative Commons, because people today can ensure that people of tomorrow will be able to use their creative content that they want them to be able to use in new and exciting ways, because it isn't just stuck under the Millennium Copyright Act, and they're not restricted by this imposition that people don't always agree for their creative content to be restricted by. So that's another reason why it's great that we have the ability for people to choose what their attribution under the Creative Commons license is on our site.
You know, what you said just touched me very deeply, Michelle, because I realized I'm going to die. I think we're all going to die. But I'm a guy who's going to die, and I've been a writer, and I've tried to share the things I've learned about being alive and about love and about sadness. And when I die, they'll probably all go away because I'll stop paying my server bills. You know, I haven't figured out how to set up a 10,000-year server bill payment plan. And if I'm not on a 10,000-year server bill payment plan, then my little contributions to humanity are just going to be flushed away. And, you know, there's something nice about that, about, you know, returning to dust and my thoughts returning to atoms and people being able to reuse the HTML and web page templates that I set up. But I also have a little bit of vanity, and I don't want to die in vain. And so I know that the things that I've learned will only be useful to future people if they're copied. The only things that people will have in the future are copied. And if you make something and you think, man, this is original, I've made the one and only version of this, and I'm going to protect it. I really want to keep other people from copying it. I really want to keep it from spreading. I really want to keep control of it. If that's your goal, people aren't going to see it. When you die, it goes away. And maybe that's the nature of what you make, but I think a lot of people out there, when they tell a story, they're telling a story because they believe in that story, and they believe that story might be able to help somebody else. And so if you believe in the power of stories to help people, if you believe that sometimes there's a bit of truth that can carry forward to an audience that hasn't yet seen it, and it might help that audience do something better, then you should probably support the Internet Archive, because that is the entire premise of this project, is that we don't even know the value of the truth we have today. But when we let that truth roll forward to reach new audiences, we can flap some butterfly wings and kill some dinosaurs.
Yes, and the dinosaurs wrote some awesome poetry. And where is it?
Where is it? It's gone. All the
It was on
Triceratops
palm leaves. It just got, like,
footprint.
Too hot. It got too hot to handle.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. I don't know if I've ever told you about the very first time that I visited the Internet Archive. It was the last Friday of the year. I believe it was in 2012, because I started volunteering here in January 2013, and everybody had gone out to lunch. My Tai Chi teacher, Chris Butler, who's the office manager here, invited me to come to our the Friday lunch. But it was the last Friday of the year. Everybody was out to lunch. So I guess the person that is now that was in my position, that is mine now, in the front office, was probably out of the little window. So I wandered in the front doors, and there was nobody around. And I came up the stairs, and it was like a scene out of the Twilight Zone, because it was nothing but this great hall and all of these tiny little people standing perfectly still, and the servers in the background with their lights blinking. And it made me think about the part in the C.S. Lewis book, The Magician's Nephew, where they jump into the different pools with the magic rings, and they go to the land where they eventually wake up the White Witch. And so they describe walking through this hall of all of these statue people, and the first people look kind, and then they walk further and further back, and then the people get more regal, but then their faces look meaner and meaner, and then there's that bell that you're supposed to hit, and that's what wakes the White Witch up, and then they run away, but she grabs onto them and then goes and destroys London. But so it was very reminiscent of that to me, and I was like, oh, so this is the future where, like, these are the representations of people that used to be here, and it's just everything is run by the computers. The computers are the only things that are left. And then I wandered around the building, and then I went to leave, and then the front office person was like, "Can I help you?" I was like, ah! there is somebody alive in here, but it was very much, I guess, I had the experience that is the intention of having our archived archivists and having the servers in the Great Hall, very much that these are replicas or physical memories of the people that helped to build what this is and what information is on those servers. It was very intense.
Yeah, it's great to hear about your first time coming to the archive, because I think that's a fabulous sort of framing for viewers at home who might not be able to join us, that there is a mystical quality to this building. And I
Yes.
first came here a few years after you. I had been a huge fan and user of the Internet Archive. I downloaded and remixed things off the Internet Archive. I'd uploaded videos to the Internet Archive. I'd used the Wayback Machine. There's so much that I'd loved about the Internet Archive, but I really didn't even kind of know that they had a building, that there was a center where this stuff was happening. And then to come to the building in San Francisco where the Internet Archive is housed and see that it actually frickin' resembles the logo, that it's somehow like there's like a little bit of cosmic alignment around the project that the Internet Archive people set out on years ago, and then it's like a building was instantiated that literally called the bluff of the logo. Like, okay, you want to make like a palace of knowledge, you want to make a temple of future learning, like, boom. Here it is. And now there is an atrium filled with petabytes and silent, wise, blinking computers watching over us. We are all watched over of machines of stuffed with effluvia. and that experience of finding a building that's filled with, like, you know, madcap renegade archivists who are like, you know, really filled with the love of knowledge and wanting to keep that online. I mean, I think I was just so delighted that not only was this regal, sort of serious building here, but it was filled with such quirky people and people who are dedicated to, you know, to this cause, such that they would stay up all night in order to provide entertainment to people, asking them only for money and only to perpetuate, you know, something they can't even control. So that there's something really beautiful about your story, Michelle, because it brings us into this moment where the world has delivered a building. The people have come to the building. The building is filling with knowledge, and it can keep going if we all pull together and support the Internet Archive. I want to right now on the air, I want to open my wallet right now, and I want to give at least $2.
Wow,
to the Internet Archive. Yeah.
That is a crisp $2 bill.
This is a crisp $2 bill.
Thank you, Thomas Jefferson.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you very much, Justin.
Of course, my pleasure.
$2.
So, yeah. I don't know if we accept donations live, but we definitely accept donations over the web.
We
What
do.
do you know the best way for people to give if they want to give to support the Internet Archive?
Let's see. I think actually there is a donate now button.
Oh, man.
See, this is us behind. It's like recursion.
Oh, we're late. We're late.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh
so
my
so
God.
so don't get too confused by that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty. Oh, it's $2
$2.
just an H. Right on. Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's awesome. Love it. Right
So
on.
we're up to $72,833.
Oh my God, that's super awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it far exceeded our expectations.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, but I mean, the operating budget for this place, I'll bet, is even greater than $70,000.
It certainly is.
Do you have any idea of what it costs to run an Internet Archive, Michelle?
I do not know, but I do know that the cost of the staff is the most is the biggest part, and it's so important to have all of these wonderful staff members here too, because like even as it is, we could use more people doing more awesome things here. But I know that it is a lot.
Well, let me just say,
it depends a lot on Brewster's generosity.
Lest the people at home think that somehow there's a bunch of librarian fat cats here, sort of like, you know, rolling $100 bill spliffs and smoking all the donations. What's actually happening is that every staff member of the Internet Archive represents the magnification of tens of hundreds and tens of thousands of people being able to donate their media, right? Mm-hmm. So if you said, I found a recording of Robert Frost, I want to donate it to the Internet Archive, you need a volunteer on the other end to say, okay, we've got just the antique laser phonograph that's going to record that, or we've got the slide carousel that can pull down that media, or we've got the decks that are going to record that, or we've got a scanning station that we've installed in your local public library to scan the books in your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. If you have an archive project in your area, the Internet Archive is running a distribution network to get libraries around the country and around the world to be able to intake media. You cannot do that kind of media intake without staff members.
That's right. Yeah. And also, just thinking about the transfer is one part, but then there's the people that build the databases and the content management, data management systems. There's the people that keep the disks running and spinning. There's the people that keep the wires coming in and out of the building working. There's so many people that are essential to the way each one of these little parts works. There's people that are designing our site to make sure that people can get to the information so that they can search for the information that they're looking for.
You're
and
scaring
come
me.
Up with that result.
You're scaring me. Do you know why I'm scared?
Why are you scared, Justin?
I just realized San Francisco is an incredibly competitive market for engineering talent.
Oh, yes.
And you're telling me that part of the success and the future of the Internet Archive depends on being able to hire and retain engineers to keep databases built and engineers to help people find information online. And do you think companies like Facebook or Google would want to hire those engineers? Do you think that those people could go get paid even more money to go work for something like Amazon or Walmart?
Well, I'm sure they could, but I think that everybody that works here knowing that they're not going to make the same amount as those big companies, but that they have this wonderful mission that they're contributing to.
Oh, so they work for free?
Oh, they don't work for free.
Because they don't need to eat?
No. They do get paid.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they eat and stuff.
Yeah. And
they have shoes.
Yeah, but they're not like, 20-something-year-old people that are
this is like a retirement home for engineers. Oh no, okay.
No, I wouldn't say retirement.
They're not on
home.
MDMA every weekend.
They're not people who hoard housing, who build or buy giant houses and then the houses all around them so nobody can look in their windows and block off all the street parking around them. That's hoarding. That's hoarding housing, and that's having a negative impact on our housing market.
No, this is about information density.
Yes.
This is about available housing for all information.
That's right.
This is about making housing available for all of human information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want all different types of information represented here in our servers, and we want to make it affordable for that information to live in our servers.
And
we're doing it as a community, and the people out there that are donating are helping that information have a place to live.
Yeah, so I just finished a documentary in August. Mm-hmm. It's called Overshare, the Links.net story, and when I was preparing to release this documentary, I decided that I would upload it to every possible network I could. I uploaded it to YouTube and Facebook and Vimeo and Flickr, and I put it everywhere, and then I put it on the Internet Archive. And when I put it on the Internet Archive, I knew I was truly releasing it into the future, because I thought, none of those other services that I uploaded my video to, none of them care about keeping my video online unless it can generate money for them in the future. Mm-hmm. And I thought, man, if I just put it on the Internet Archive, I'm compelling some obsessive compulsive archivist of the future to keep it online just because it should be online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you went through the effort to contribute it to our servers.
Well, and so into humanity, right? And I created an obligation for this archivist to keep this media online. I mean, I'm so grateful to the future archivists, who are the people who are working to keep this stuff around. I owe those people, And I think all of us owe those people, because even if you don't directly download and remix media off the Internet Archive, the people when you consume TV and you consume news and you consume movies, they're made of the substrate, the pieces that are supplied by the archives.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. I was going to mention also earlier, we were talking about the students of the future, and I also wanted to say how it's important to me that we do archive the educational materials of the past, because I think it's very important for us to understand other older generations' perspectives based on what they were taught in schools and what they learned and what kinds of materials were used in their classrooms, just as what the materials of the future that are available to the students of the future will say and contribute to what they think about the world.
Oh, yeah. If only because then we can laugh at how silly we used to be.
Yeah, but also have compassion for people that might not understand the way things as we understand them, or the way things as we were taught them, because people are taught all kinds of different things about how to view other cultures.
Well, and seeing how mistaken some of those views of other cultures might be lets us know that even now we might be making mistakes.
Yes.
Like even now we might be making mistakes in our cultural production, and even now we might be making a mistake by not giving even more to the Internet Archive if we possibly can. Can you imagine if the Internet Archive went away in like in a week, and you thought, man, I had that extra $5. I was going to have a latte frappuccino, but then I said I'm going to give to the Internet Archive, and then it stuck around. And that difference, it could hang on that. It could hang on your $5. And how would you know? And it's better to probably just assume you should give. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because without giving, you can assume that this won't stick around. If you can't give, then you can assume that other people wouldn't give, and it wouldn't be around. Now, if you can't give, if you literally, you don't have $1, if you literally don't have $1 to give to the Internet Archive, you can rest assured there are people like Brewster Kale and myself who will give of our fortunes, me and Brewster giving of our fortunes to keep this place around. But please, if you can, pay forward into, think of you paying somebody else's tuition who's going to make the earth even better after you're gone, or who might make the earth better for you when you're parked somewhere and you can't lift up your finger to click the telethon button anymore.
And you can all hang out together by sharing the same information.
That's true.
You're living together with the same thoughts as other people, and you're sharing this thing that you don't even know you're sharing.
Yeah. So Michelle, that reminds me. I mean, would you please talk for a moment, based on your personal history here and stuff? Would you talk about? I mean, do you think of the Internet Archive sometimes as the global brain? Or is it sort of like the memory bank? The Internet's the brain, and the Internet Archive is the shared memory bank. Is it more Jungian? Like this is the collective unconscious of the Internet? Like how would you break it down?
Let's see here. The brain is an interesting organ. It's where memory and the ability to process that memory and to make connections is stored, but it is not the only intelligent part of the body.
Whoa.
So, and there are also ways that our brains, once opened and enlightened, can connect with higher consciousness than what is just limited to our single individual perspectives. So, at the same time, we cannot possibly store all of the knowledge in the world in our individual brains. So that's why it's important to have work towards communicating and thinking and working together to try to attain that global consciousness so that we can be one with everything. And by providing storage space where as much as possible of different perspectives and information can be shared. Like you have stuff in your brain that is different than the stuff in my brain, but we also have stuff that's shared. And those machines could have both in one place. But I guess this is where artificial intelligence comes in. And this is, as I understand it, what one of Brewster's early dreams of building these servers is that when the point comes where an artificial intelligence is good enough to have a conversation with, it would be like having a conversation with like a super smart person that has like way more knowledge than just like one of us is able to store in our brains. So they can just be like, so tell me about this, and they're like, oh well, here's all of these things and things that are related to this and that. So I guess this could be considered a start towards a global memory bank. But as far as the functions of a brain, I think we still have a way to go.
Maybe with a liberal education that you might provide for the coming artificial intelligence.
Okay, this is
Yes.
really great. We've had
Yes.
some insight
Yes.
from Pew 3. Sam here has pointed out that if we do get great computer consciousness, it is going to need to learn.
Yes.
It is going to need to learn what humanity has done thus far.
And we are the liberal arts education for the artificial intelligence.
And so if
Yes.
if that is possibly true, then it is incumbent on us to upload, to both give to support the Internet Archive and to upload things that you would want the future artificial intelligence that sits bestride the straddles the internet to. What would you want it to know?
Yeah.
Feed it to the archive and know that in 100 years or something, that intelligence will consume your media and spit it back out to school children.
Mm-hmm. And this also brings up an important point about diversity of perspectives. And I've been working with different local native tribes, First People, the Ohlone, Mary Jean Robertson, that runs the Voices of Native Nations show on Capo. And there's been a movement in tribal libraries and museums for people that are part of those native tribes that are still living tribes and cultures that the United States government tried to wipe out and assimilate, but the heritage has lasted and perpetuated. There's a movement for these people to be able to go back into their museums and libraries and explain things from their own cultural perspectives rather than having to have these, say, museum exhibitions with artifacts that are explained by cultural anthropologists from other backgrounds. So I think that's fascinating that people whose culture this is are reclaiming their voice to say, no, this is what this means to us, and this is the way that I want to describe it, and really reclaiming their own history, learning their own native languages, and speaking in them again. And it just really goes to show how there are, even if you can keep the smallest few seeds of a culture alive, how it can go through a period of drought and difficulty and then re-sprout again, and how the archives provide a space for that to be able to happen that is not limited by the curation restrictions or space restrictions of traditional museums or research institutions. So that's why this earlier this year we got a Knight Foundation grant for $600,000 for the V2 version of our website, and also to create tools that are in a few years process of being created, so that people can more easily upload their content and create collections on our archive. And I think that that's just such a wonderful thing, because it gives people the space to have their voices heard and to tell their stories and to share their culture when they may have been marginalized and shut out by what we have been traditionally working to build in our institutions and our libraries.
Yeah, and trying to build an institution that respects all that cultural diversity and understands what we know in a world where there's so much information that we have access to that lives in parallel to each other. It's a fascinating part of, this open Internet Archive experiment, and it's so wonderful that the Internet Archive is such a transparent place and such an open place, and so many different types of people come through here, and there's outposts in different parts of the world even for the archive. So it's not just a, Western American project, but there's outposts in Egypt and, other places that, give us some sense that, man, if this knowledge is going to be carried forward, it's not just our job here in San Francisco, it's everybody's job in their town and their library, and maybe this can be a hub that collects all this knowledge, but maybe it's also that, we're part of the broadly distributed future here, and that, even the person at home today who's able to click the donate button and give a little bit of money, can be a part of that spread of that architecture for keeping knowledge alive at both a hub here at the Internet Archive headquarters, but then at these spokes that may be, just down the block from you as someone's cracking open a dusty trunk and finding some diaries and deciding to transcribe and upload them, or, finding some old cassettes that may have something that we can now give people to remix and turn into the future of human history. Mm-hmm. Good to remember.
Yeah, it's so inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many people that are doing all of these little satellite projects on their own, and it's great to be able to provide this network and hub to be a place where they can share that with like-minded people from all over the world.
Absolutely.
It's inspiring.
I just saw there's an even more exciting guest who just arrived. Oh my God, we ran late. Okay, here.
Whoa,
hey,
what time is
would
it?
you take a picture of me on stage with this person here? I want to get a thing. Thank you. Yeah, take a few. The film's cheap. All right, look like you're talking. I mean, we got to act like we're talking.
Yeah, we have
yeah,
to
so,
act
so,
like we're talking
so
like I did for the we did for the banner ads. And
yeah. So this may be my winding down moments here on the Internet Archive telethon, but I'm very honored to have been invited to participate and to be allowed to contribute to this cultural institution because, when I first started publishing online, I thought the internet was forever. I thought that if I put something at a URL, somehow it seemed to me very fixed, that I had put something in a place where everybody could find it, and I think what I did was I conflated the widespread availability of things on the web with permanence, and they are totally different. You can put something on the web and suddenly everybody has access to it through a web browser, but not everybody has access through time. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. And if you don't have access to it through time, then what you're making is very much ephemeral. And some things should be ephemeral. I burped, I farted. Those are ephemeral things. But if you say, oh man, I had a great trauma and I survived, that's a little less like ephemera. And I'm so glad the Internet Archive is there for us to let us decide what we want to keep and carry forward, and that it's a participatory exercise for all of us to be able to share our truth and support the sharing of truth by supporting the Internet Archive through our donations of time and of cash. So thank you very much, Michelle, and thank you to the folks at home who are tuned in and keeping this thing alive.
Yes.
Right on.
Fantastic. Wow.
All right.
All right. So I think it's about, wow. You guys, it's been such an amazing night. I hope everybody that has been with us for a little while, a long while, the entire while, that would be pretty wild. But there are some folks that have powered through. I hope you've all had a fantastic time, and it's not over yet because the sun is just coming up. The sky is turning a little bit blue, and we are going to have an early morning dance party.
One. Blue, blue. Red, blue.
Hi there. That's good. That's good. We're having a little. We're having an incredible morning here, and we want you to know that we are at $75,000. But what we're going for, we've decided. I mean, remember, this is all being cooked up as we go. Michelle's been running the overnight and all the rest. But we cooked up and said, you know what? I think we can do $100,000 today by noon PST. It's just about 8. We got 4 more hours left.